Hello everybody and welcome back. Today, we're going to be discussing a PlayStation VR2 Pro. Now, while many of us, myself included, are enjoying our brand new PlayStation VR2, some of the more experienced VR users are noticing this headset's shortcomings. VR has always been a delicate balancing act between performance, comfort, and price, and for the most part, I think the PSVR2 strikes the perfect middle ground, but if we wanted a true high-end VR headset, we'd need something like a PSVR2 Pro. So today, I'll break down all the specs I'd love to see if Sony ever plans to indulge the enthusiasts. And there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by VR Rock. VR Rock makes prescription lens inserts for all of your favorite VR headsets, and now they have them for the PlayStation VR2. So if you've been struggling to get your eyeglasses to fit inside the headset, or you're afraid you might scratch the lens, these can be a great option. They magnetically connect, so they're easy to put on and take right back off. And if you're interested, I have a 10% discount code down in the description and a link to their webpage. Okay, once again, I am truly enjoying my PSVR 2. It's a huge step up from the original. The quality of games absolutely tramples the Quest 2, and it's reinvigorated my love of VR, but it's not the straight upgrade device of my dreams, as it has a few too many issues for my liking. Now, I'd love to hear down in the comments what your dream device would be, or if you agree with my hardware specs. So let's get to transforming the PSVR 2, starting with the display. The biggest letdown of this headset is its Fresnel lens. It's plagued us with an extremely small sweet spot and a public outcry of, why is everything so blurry? Unfortunately, there's no perfect combination of VR display tech, as you're always going to have to make some sacrifices, but we should put a pancake lens in our new Pro device. This will slim the whole headset down, reduce God rays, and add edge-to-edge clarity, but at the expense of overall brightness. Now, I know some people love OLED panels, but there's a reason why VR developers have moved away from it, and I think we should do the same in this headset. We can move to LCD panels with the same 2000 by 2040 resolution per eye output, and I'm really not that worried about color representation because the Quest Pro uses LCD and its colors truly pop. Now, I'm sure some people would also like higher resolution panels, but if it was kept the same, developers would not need to make any changes to support a Pro device. Now, these minor display changes should resolve the majority of the PlayStation VR 2's issues. We shouldn't have to deal with the Mora effect, a small sweet spot, or the screen door effect. Now, the next issue we have to tackle is tracking. Tracking on the PlayStation VR 2 is fine, but it still suffers from occlusion and limited range. At minimum, Sony needs some software updates, but since we're going with an enthusiast level device, let's add in ringless controllers. Copying from some of the innovations found in the Quest Pro, we can use controllers with built-in cameras that will completely eliminate occlusion issues, and they'll also continue to work when they're outside of your visual range. Now, an alternative option that I'm sure some people would love to see is outside-in base station-based tracking, but that's an unnecessary level of complication that I would like to avoid. Now, there's more to say on this, and the topic will come back up later in the video. Another area requiring an upgrade is the audio. Wired earbuds just won't cut it for our enthusiast level device. Personally, my favorite is Valve Index style off-ear speakers. Almost 4 years later, and their audio quality remains unmatched. But Sony could also tap into their 3D Pulse headphone tech. This is currently how I use my PSVR 2, and it's a nice upgrade from the earbuds, but they slide off my head when I'm moving around a lot or looking straight up in the air. So let's just build these headphones right into our PSVR 2 Pro. And now we've corrected every single issue I have with the PSVR 2. This alone is a headset I'd be willing to shell out some extra money for, but we're not stopping here as we're gonna add some additional features. Now, I'm sure many of you have this first one on the wish list, and that's a wireless option. To reduce clunkiness, I don't want this as an add-on, but rather built right into the headset, and we could either go with the Nofio Wi-Fi 6 adapter or Vive's 60 GHz adapter. The PSVR 2 is an extremely lightweight headset, and until now, we haven't added any extra weight, so the addition of a battery pack shouldn't be uncomfortable for most users. Now, that battery will also need to be swappable because I'm not trading in the cable for a 2-hour battery life. No premium headset should be without its own stand that allows you to simply lay down the device and see its charge level, and in this case, also keep a spare battery ready to go. But the final cherry on top for this headset would be PCVR support. Now, I understand the unlikelihood of this, but if Sony wants to sell hundreds of thousands of extra units, the PCVR market would just eat up this PSVR 2 Pro. I would finally have a direct upgrade from my Valve Index, and I can't imagine needing a better headset than this for the next 5+ years. Now, Sony Interactive Entertainment makes the majority of their money by selling software, not hardware, but to try and make up for that, they can make this headset require a Steam VR license. Now, I'm sure that would frustrate some people, but I'm already willing to pay $50 to unlock the current PlayStation VR 2 for Steam VR, and I'm sure many other people would too. Combine this with a little Sony Valve team up, where they share some games and revenue, and this could be in everyone's best interest. Developers have a larger player base, we'll see more of a high-end VR revival, and there'll also be a cut down on exclusives, which I know drives the VR community insane. So let's solve that issue and make them even happier by bringing back the aim controller. I'd love to see something like a clever dual pistol design that allows you to use the controllers individually like normal, but then they attach together, and have a spring-loaded buttstock that would pop out. Maybe I'm dreaming of a design that's beyond practical, but current gun stocks frustrate me and become a bit cumbersome, but I'd also hate to see a specialized device that's only useful in certain games. But I'm digressing here, and let's get back to the headset. Now, a topic I haven't discussed is comfort. While I struggled a bit with my PSVR2 at first, I'm now finding it comfortable enough. My major complaint would be it pinches my nose, but I also have a Cyclops IPD. And that brings us to how comfort is so subjective. I really enjoy the lack of pressure around my face, but at times it can be a bit much on the top of my head. It's impossible for me to build a device that's comfortable for everyone, so I just want to know what changes you would include. Once again, we are at the enthusiast level, so we can expect a pretty high price tag, but I think Sony could do all of this minus the aim controller for around $1,100. Starting with the base headset price of $550, we'll add the new controllers at $300, the wireless adapter for $200, and the Sense 3D headphones at another $100. Now this puts us at $1,150, but that was all retail pricing. So Sony would definitely be able to make a profit here, and maybe even skim back the price tag a little bit. But the last thing we need from Sony should happen before new hardware, and that's some software updates. Now I'm not talking about new games because those are coming, and if we added PCVR support, the library would be huge. What I am talking about is the ongoing reprojection and the controller issues that some users are experiencing. I know some people say the reprojection isn't a big issue at all, and I'm completely overplaying it, but after playing VR for 7 years now and owning 14 different headsets, I can honestly say I've never seen something quite like this. It's extremely intrusive, has forced me to switch to snap turning, and we shouldn't have to deal with it on an enthusiast level device. Now again, it'll sound like I'm making a huge deal of this. It doesn't ruin the experience. I can deal with it just fine, but it really shouldn't be there. And while I personally haven't seen any controller issues myself, there's plenty of people stating their controllers don't work in-game. So obviously this is something that Sony needs to remedy. But right now I want to know if I hit the mark on a new enthusiast level device. Would you add anything else or change some of the tech I included? What are your ideal specs? And would you pay $1,100 for this headset? Let me know down in the comments right now, and let's try and keep things realistic. Don't tell me you want all of these features plus a 200-degree field of view at a $500 price tag, because then you might as well tell me you also want to be Batman or Meta isn't collecting your data. Okay, so that was an unfair dig, but go ahead and leave a comment right now.
And that was today's video, brought to you by my dad, Mateo311. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here,
Consider subscribing.
consider subscribing.
Consider subscribing.
Consider subscribing.
Consider subscribing. We'll see you guys on next time.
We'll see you guys on next time.